इतना सा फर्क है कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में। इतना सा फर्क है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Good afternoon, one and all. Franchise India team welcomes you to this particular episode of Business Opportunity with Chai webinar series. Franchise India, the brand which was established in 1999, helping all international and national clients brands for their business expansion with our extensive leg of network. We have helped thousands of investors in getting the right solutions from us. We welcome each one of you to 221st edition of Business Opportunity over Chai webinar series. We welcome management team of Franchise India, Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am. The flow of the webinar would be, will give you the correct and complete understanding about the brand, where brand's representative will talk about their franchise and business model. We'll take you to the virtual tour of the brand outlets, and then we'll take all your queries. The brand which we are presenting for each one of you is One Stop. Brands come from Bombay. They already having their online and offline presence. They are operational with 10 plus outlets in India, and they enjoy heritage of 80 years. They offer 20,000 plus products under one roof. And we welcome Mr. Jayesh along with his team to talk about how One Stop became the #1 kitchen and cookware need brand. Thank you so much, Jayesh sir, for sparing time today and presenting your business model with each one of us. Over to you, sir. Yes, sir, we would, yeah. Over to you, sir.
Can you unmute me from there?
We can hear you, sir.
Thank you, Archana, and good afternoon, everyone. Sonia and the team of Franchise India, as well as the numerous very enthusiastic business people who have joined this webinar. It really gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the very first webinar in which we are introducing the concept of One Stop Your Home Store. like to take you, very glad to take you to the presentation, and would welcome any questions, any kind of doubts which you have, any thoughts which you have for the business and for the brand. Would welcome to like to answer those questions. In fact, I have my team, entire team with me. Ronak Haria, our operations manager, has joined live from one of our very premium high street store in South Bombay. And along with him, we also have Kapil Pitroda, our marketing manager, who is there with him. So they will be taking you, after I give this presentation, they will be taking you through the entire walkthrough of the actual store, which is currently on, which is operational store. I also have with me my HR manager, my IT manager here, and we would be glad to take any questions. So I would like to take you through the presentation first. So One Stop Your Home Store, as
So we can't see your PPT. Yeah. Will you be able to share the screen?
Yes, sure.
Sure.
So One Stop Your Home Store as a format came into being in 2013, but it carries a legacy of more than 90 years now. We started in 1932 as Soham Collection. It is a premium flagship store of home and kitchen in the central suburb of Mumbai. And it was started by my grandfather. So we represent the third generation of taking this legacy ahead. Currently, right now, we are operating with 10 outlets in Mumbai and Pune. We are the core premise of One Stop represents more than 20,000 products under 50 categories and spread across 500 brands. So we have probably the best brands of India and the world in home and kitchen space, representing in One Stop as a value proposition. We have an existing customer base of more than 4 lakh people, and which is growing every day. And this presents, when we present our format to a global vendor also, we give this core premise that your products, any product of home and kitchen, any global brand, will be seen day in and out by more than 7,000 to 8,000 customers with our current store individually. So that is the space we offer to any brand. And we went online during the pandemic with more than 10,000 SKUs, and we are there present under on the URL of www.onestopretail.in. So you are free to check out the link and our merchandise there. We are a multi-brand showroom and representing the entire spectrum of home and kitchen. So our core premise remains that the name One Stop itself was coined as, when we were asked to describe our format in one sentence, we said it's a one-stop solution for entire home and kitchen. So we represent the widest and the deepest category penetration. So in a particular category, we will have the widest range. So we will have, say, 30 different types of knives, kitchen knives present in our stores. The customer gets a huge selection to choose from when he comes to shop at our store. We are also the sole importer, exclusive distributor of a Korean brand called Lock and Lock since 2001. So currently in 2021, we are celebrating 20 years of Lock and Lock in India. And the three basic pillars on which One Stop rests, our core value proposition is we have the widest range and the deepest range. And we also bring the most innovative products which are introduced globally in home and kitchen space. We are the first to bring in our stores. So when we are any new product being introduced anywhere in the globe, we take deep pains to source that product and bring it to our stores at first. And that is because also of the fact that we are in direct touch with our customers. So we take great pleasure to be there at all our stores, interact with customers, understand what their want is, and then want when converts into a need, because we bring that product. So suppose many a times customer may have a want in the home and kitchen space, but if the product itself is not manufactured anywhere, it cannot be converted into a need. And based on that, since the last 2013, we have been present in the name of One Stop. That is what we have done is we have made a hybrid format. A hybrid in terms of that we bring modern systems, modern procurement systems, ERP, and latest POS system. We have a modern way of arranging with proper VM guidelines, and we bring the traditional dukandari, the traditional core way of selling, because currently all our store people and managers and the buying team has got experience dealing directly with interaction with customers for 8 to 10 to 15 years. So those are the people who have been in our our core store, and they have had experience speaking to customers daily, interacting, understanding their needs, and they form part of our core buying team. Lately, we have also had the sole imports of a German brand called Borner, which is a very popular product called V-Slicer. So every year we try to bring in certain products where we understand from the customer perspective that this is this product has a potential and a strong need, and we are the first to import it. So our growth story began in the early prior to 1930s. We also don't know the exact year, but prior to 1930, our grandfather started Soham Collection. And from there, in 1990s, late 1990s, import liberalization took place in India. And that led to a whole range of foreign brands, which earlier, people used to travel abroad in US and Europe, used to see the Corels and the Luminars and the global brands in home and kitchen. But that started flowing into India with regular distributors. Similarly, we brought Lock and Lock in 2001. From there, fast forward to 2012, wherein we had the first exclusive flagship store of Lock and Lock in a mall called R City in Mumbai. And it was a turning point in our business journey, because we realized that a plastic brand and an exclusive shop at that could break even, and there was a customer clientele waiting for such a shop. So it was an eye opener for us from that point of view, because opening that shop and with any mall will carry a huge cost, huge expenses in terms of rentals and other charges. But we were able to break even in the very first month itself. And that took us by surprise. So that led us to another decision that we had to expand fast. But taking into consideration that why limit ourselves only to Lock and Lock? Why not put the entire range of our family store in the modern environment, in modern trade? So that led us to having the first One Stop in December 2012 itself. Within 6 months, we were there with the first One Stop. And gradually over a period of 2 to 3 years, many malls realized that this is a category which is vacant. And we had the huge expansion at a frenetic pace, wherein we opened 10 shops in a span of 3 to 4 years. And all these shops are, if anyone happens to visit Mumbai, they are present in the most prominent malls. And their size range from 1,800 square feet to a 6,500 in Mumbai. So the product range, of course, these are the broad spectrum of our product range, wherein we have the kitchen and home appliances. We have cookware as an important category. Bakeware, of course, this bakeware has now become quite prevalent among customers, because during the lockdown, people were used to taking baking as a hobby and doing it at home. Storage, serveware, dinnerware, thermoware, cutlery, crockery, glassware. This represents a broad spectrum. Of course, there are certain niche categories also, like puja essentials, copper, and the new metals, bronze and copper vessels coming into age now. globally now customers are preferring also sustainable products and products which have a natural material like cast iron. So that is again coming into relevance now. Of course, the purpose of going into partner franchisee model and partnering with an esteemed organization like Franchise India was that we had customer base across India. We know when we started online during the month of May 2020 during pandemic, we realized that we were getting inquiries across India. And we thought that this customer base was looking for a organized retail in this home and kitchen space. And that led us to talk to Gauravji and other people in Franchise India. And slowly that it ultimately evolved. And we are today face to face with all you guys. We just have sharing some broad pictures of how our one-stop store looks like. So every section of the store is divided into certain core categories, wherein a customer, when he walks through, he can buy on impulse, he can pick up the product from the shelves. And there are also, of course, team leaders as staff, team leaders and executives who help them, who know the product category in and out, and who help them customers with making the right choice. So these are some of we have, of course, the wall fixtures as well as the gondolas with proper categories, proper signages, and branding done in the stores. Roughly to give you a brief idea about the franchisee setup cost, we have listed down. Of course, Franchisee India will be able to give you more specific details, and we will also be able to directly interact with you. So the interior fit out is roughly this is benchmarking we have done of a 1500 carpet area store, wherein the interior fit outs will roughly have a 31.5 lakhs cost, and equipment in terms of computer terminals and POS machines will have 1.5 lakh. Inventory will be somewhere around 40 lakhs or so, and there is a franchisee fee of 2 lakhs, wherein we strive to give proper value to this franchisee fee. We give you a lot of material worth this much, wherein which will prepare you to open in very fast time and equip you with coming out with your store and embarking on this journey, exciting journey in the home and kitchen space. Of course, broadly, we have given a benchmark figure of lease deposits of 9 lakhs, which will of course differ from area to area, and a working capital requirement initially of 7.5 lakhs, totaling to 92.2 lakhs. So these are the broad further bifurcation of the fit out and the other cost structure. At the moment, there are some, apart from this presentation, what we also would like to mention is that we have given roughly a benchmark figure of 1500 carpet area, but plus and minus, we can go for a smaller format also with representing the core merchandise, like around 1,800 to 1,000, depending upon the area and location. So in terms of selection of the location, we think that home and kitchen as a space, if it has a catchment area, it's in a proper catchment area with a customer base, it can offer an exciting opportunity where in a high street store where people are frequently visiting either for their core groceries or food items, where in regular purchase people are going there. In that neighborhood also, we can have a store with a decent frontage, but where good wall units can be placed. Wall and gondola units can be placed. So what, as a franchisee partner, what we are offering to the partners is that we will suffice the inventory. At the back end, we are operating on a global ERP system of SAP, wherein we have figured out the auto replenishment system. So based on your sales every day, when the real time inventory is reflected in our system, we will replenish the merchandise at a record level. So there is no stock out, and always customers are able to find their requirement in the store. Apart from that, the fixtures which we have had a great experience of finding the right fixtures and their partners, so we can offer that expertise also. And so there is absolute standardization of the brand, and each category is visible to the customer in the way global standards are met. So there is a different way of placing a glass and a crockery item, and a different way of presenting a steel or a copper or a bronze item. So we bring that core differentiation in the store fixtures also. Apart from that, we will also offer, we have certain standard SOPs for inward, outward, for managing store operations, as also training to the salespeople how to pitch in products. We can arrange numerous videos, numerous training sessions on the product and the merchandise. In the marketing front, we will also offer our own learnings of the past so many years in terms of defining the customer persona of people who are visiting. So currently people have a different perspective with regard to their health. Some people might be health conscious, some might be in a nuclear family, a joint family. This will all get reflected in their buying patterns. And we can target on social media and other digital channels. We can target the catchment and bring customers. So the basic purpose of going in for the franchisee model is geographical expansion, and we will see the core part of buying will be taken care of us. The franchisee partner has to focus on sales, and we will give the required tools to equip him to do the efficient sales and give the required training to the manpower, which will be under the control of the franchisee.
So, thank you so much, Rajesh. Okay, sorry, I just thought if we can also have an outlet tour which you were proposing, and then we can start, maybe with a formal Q&A.
So Ronak will take the walkthrough of the actual store.
We can start.
Ronak, you can proceed.
Sure. Just give me a moment. I'll get through the. I'll start from the beginning, the entrance of the store, and guide you to the complete store. Just a moment. Hello, everyone. Let's get ready for the store tour. Here we start from the entrance of the store. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's the entrance of our store. Here are the safety precautions which are kept. The markings on the floor, that's the cash counter. These are the exclusive offerings which are on sale. That cookware section. All the categories that were highlighted earlier are specifically marked with the definite areas. The customers can individually and by themselves have the look and feel over the products, and they are free to choose and see all of our offerings. So this store that we are seeing is the South Bombay store, as Jayesh had mentioned. This is the exclusive appliances section. So this store is a ground plus one. So we have specific categories which are there on the ground floor, and then we'll just walk to the first floor. So there are exclusive merchandise also highlighted here. So this is the complete assortment of exclusive dinner sets. They are also in a form that you can understand and sell by themselves. These are all daily use and budget dinner sets. This is the complete glassware that we offer. Yeah, so did I end this journey here? Hello? So by this, we complete the store journey.
Thank you very much. Very insightful, and it gives a good view of the store and the categories you have. A fairly large store and a very well stocked. And this is one of the areas which a lot of new generation retailers don't understand, that the kind of stock, and especially in the whole space of home and kitchen, the kind of offering you need to do and the stocking you need to do has to be very appropriate and right. Jayesh bhai, anything you want to add before we start the Q&A?
No, I just like to request all to have your questions, put through you, and we'll be happy to answer that. We really would like to welcome all in this. I tell that this is a journey of making a house to a home. So One Stop represents that core premise where and customers have been we have seen customers returning at a frequency not imagined. So now after the pandemic, what we have done during lockdown is we have consumed food and we have utilized the home and kitchen products. So this has become not an essential, but a near essential as a category.
Absolutely. And I think Jayesh bhai and family has a phenomenal experience in this category. They have been not only very successful themselves, but it's also they have been pioneer and putting this whole category together. There are very, very few players in this country who have the assortment and the sourcing capability as they have, because there are multiple manufacturers, suppliers, brand owners, where they would source all products from, and that assortment itself to bring in is really the value creation in this business. Because today, if you see the kind of category, and we'll start with that question, and understand that how the assortment would work and how their supply chain really works on that. Just my first question to me, to you is that what is the assortment level? We have seen servoware, we have seen cookware, we have seen glassware, and we've also seen a lot of other categories which have suddenly emerged, small appliances, and then a lot of impulse products, which is coming in. How have you seen the category evolving over the years? And what is the mix by percentage you would give? Because I can clearly see in your business, there is a cookware has a very big small appliances has a very strong category mix. I saw glassware as a big range on the first floor, very, very strong range, which is also your entire bone china range and so on and so forth. And then you also have a lot of servoware, which is also there. So what is the category apart from this, which has become a big mix for you? And what is the percentage you would give it to each of these categories?
So as a percentage, this has evolved over a period of time. Post the pandemic, certain categories have become much more prominent in terms of, prior to that, people were having domestic help and other people to manage things. But during pandemic, people themselves started doing a lot of things. So the quality enhancement in those categories was very sharp. And lately there has been a lot of realization about the health aspect and the environment aspect when you are using a home and kitchen product. So we have seen gradually people were moving towards natural materials more in terms of using copper, in terms of using brass, and using cast iron in cookware. The non-stick aspect, non-stick people were preferring gradually less, and people wanted to move towards, they were looking for certification and quality parameters on the product. Even people, about a year back, there was a huge, movement in the country against plastics and those kind of material. But there also, we got a good spike in glassware and metals. So, and broadly, roughly all these major categories require have equal representation in terms of percentage. So an appliance or a kitchenware or a crockery will have those roughly broadly in double digits as a percentage of, and that is the way, of course, we represent the stock levels also, and the format and the layout of the store roughly reflects the percentage sales potential.
Very important, and there is a huge shift in the content. I think the shift would mean not only shift from people using themselves, so do-it-yourself kind of a product range would become very high in homes. So people would use a different kind of a cookware. A lot of other things would start coming in. You will see a lot of small appliances which people would like to use in homes because it is your way of cooking and so on and so forth. So that's one big shift and customer priority. Second, I think it's also about the way they carry food is becoming very important. The storage has become a very big range now, unlike in earlier used to be, because almost every time you have a food at a certain dieting and needs to a food grade product. So storage is becoming a very big category. Certainly it has emerged very internationally. It was very big. India, it was not that big. That's also become a very strong shift, which is happening. And also, I think there is also a third shift, which I see in this category, is that a made in India product would also play a very important role. We had a very big range of global, especially Chinese products coming in the category for last 10, 15 years. But certainly because of metal shift and a lot of other capabilities been shifted, India would start producing. We still are not the best in the glassware. We're not the best in some of the categories, but I think our capabilities to produce a good product within Indian markets would be start of emergence, which we will start seeing, and people would start shifting that. Now, my next question is, Jayesh bhai, in terms of when you plan, South Bombay behaves very differently to what other city would location would be. Even in Bombay, that you see, because our cooking habits, our kitchen especially, are very differently placed. Because say a South Indian kitchen would be a very different to say a Maharashtrian kitchen to say a North Indian kitchen to an entire thing. So how do you really do your assortment and plan on that? Because even in a city like Mumbai, you know, you will have a very different, a Dadar behaving very different to South Bombay to Powai to entire thing. So you will have maybe a Powai, a lot of baking equipment being sold or something else would be, I think, will match towards more South Bombay, but not so much in other places entire thing. So there is a shift of our kitchen and a behavior. How do you do their assortment fix? And what is there a certain fixed assortment, and then you will do some kind of a neighborhood based assortment also?
So the little bit of tweaking is always there in terms of price points, quality points, and certain customer needs of a particular catchment. But today we also have to admit that we also have idlis and dosas in North Indian homes. We also have dhoklas and other things in a Punjabi home. And we have paneer and all this in Gujarati homes. So now people are becoming much more cosmopolitan in terms of their food outlook. Earlier, you know, certain items were, I remember our family store in Matunga. Matunga was a mini Madras of Bombay. And we used to have specific grinding stones taken from Mangalore. We used to source grinding stones from Mangalore in the 1960s and 70s. But now these things...
They're still sold in Matunga. You still get the stores with your spices and these grinding small places in Matunga. You'll still get that.
Right. So, but now it has become very cosmopolitan in terms of usage. So wet grinders, which used to be only a South Indian thing, are also taken by other people. In fact, we have demand for a wet grinder of 110 volts to be taken in US. When people are migrating to US and other countries, we have specific requirements of a particular voltage, which we take care to keep it in our stores. Even when students are migrating for post-graduation and other courses, they want mixers in 110 volts, which we have it in our stores during that period when the student intake is there.
Absolutely.
So these small nuances are taken care of our buying team very, very carefully. In fact, we also have certain seasonal assortment, like we have a very good variety of umbrellas during rainy season, which we take. Of course, this year the back to school season has taken a shift, postponement because schools have not opened at all. But that also remains an important season of where good buying takes place during the months of June, July, or December.
Yeah, and the tiffin boxes and the water bottles and so on. There's a huge category of back to school. But you're right, absolutely. There is a lot of importance which has been given. I think there's now a global demand. I've actually gone to a big store in New Jersey, which sells only South Indian equipments, which people would buy and use it in their wet grinders and so on forth in US, and a very massive store, and is a wholesale company there. And also we have seen companies like Meyer, which is one of the largest companies, actually inventing an Indian tawa, because they understand that the utility of Indian home is very different to versus one of the largest selling product for a cookware is actually a tawa, or a places like that where you do that, and it's very unique to India. So I think the whole evolution is happening. So in the landscape, you have been a very strong player, and you see the category moving in. Is there a particular markets which you have a big focus to now really go and looking at your supply chain capability, or you are open for all India? That's one question I have. And second, there is a big range which you have done from a 800 to 1500. And I would say that CapEx would also significantly change because stock levels would be almost half of what is in 800 to what is in 1500. Yeah. And this can change from, while we have taken an estimate of 90 lakh rupees, but it can significantly come down if you do a smaller store. Would you not carry a category, or you will take smaller quantities of particular category, or you will drop a few categories itself because a smaller store would not be able to accommodate that?
So basically, to answer your first question regarding the area where we would like to expand, when I was distributing Lock and Lock and we were trying to pitch Lock and Lock to across the country, I used to personally go to all these shops, and I've been visiting practically right from Jammu to Kanyakumari, and I've seen the best of the home and kitchen shops across the country. So wherever has been a demand for such kind of products, even the smaller towns have now evolved because of digitalization and internet. People have become much more aware of the kind of products which are available in India. So there is a demand for a proper home and kitchen across the country. But rightfully, because as a supply chain thing, we would like to focus on the cities where maximum potential is there, and where we get the proper equation of business to cost. Because we also want the franchisee to have a proper ROI and see that his investment, he gets a decent return and a proper return in a given frame of time for his investments. So that is the first question. Secondly, as regards the size part, we will definitely have all the major categories even a smaller store. Practically smaller store, I was looking for those areas where huge rentals are there, and which sometimes the catchment cost is very different from the business potential. So there, if we are not able to afford a larger store, because of the density of customer visits, we would be open to a smaller store in that, but wherein we will keep broadly the same merchandise, only certain sizes will not be kept, because we'll apply the Pareto principle and we will take the 80-20 principle. So those assortment which is contributing to the major turnover is something we would like to keep.
Absolutely. And I think that's very, very important. And also I call the 2-quarter learning curve, which means that once you put the assortment, there would be learnings coming from that assortment. You know what is moving fast, what is moving slow, and then you can also plan that. And by and large, the rest of the things remain same. And every retail is divided into 4 parts. One is what we call destination product. Second is specialty product. Third is called seasonal product. And fourth is called impulse product. So depending on these assortments, the retail mix would be designed and placed with you. And so there used to be a stock leftover problem, in this category, because the category itself, while it moves very fast, but what is a percentage of a product which doesn't move, and what happens on that product? Because when you have an inventory, large inventory, and say a particular style is not working or design is working, how you back-to-back aligned with your OEMs on a slow-moving stock or a not moving stock?
So thankfully, this category is majority are functional products. It is not a design element or a fashion element product which goes out of fashion or out of trend. So in that case, we have seen over a period of time, not only in One Stop, but even in our previous family store also, that the percentage of dead stock or slow moving stock is very minimal. Currently in the landscape we are present here, now people are become more used to even having end of season sale, even in a home and kitchen store. I remember about 15-20 years, we had the end of season sale in a home and kitchen store. Prior to that, there was never a sale in a home and kitchen format. But the road where we were present in Matunga used to have a lot of garment shops on that lane. And they used to have during a particular, say December, when change of seasons from a winter to a summer and a summer to a winter, they used to have this end of season sale. And we followed that and we got good returns. So that also allowed us the opportunity of giving good discounts and bringing value products to the customer during that time. And we could minimize the inventory, our slow moving inventory. But slowly, gradually, it also turned out to be an opportunity. Now we have started sourcing for those end of season sale also. So that has become, earlier it was meant to be something else, but then now it is also a great opportunity because we have a great upstick in sales during those periods. So roughly those are 2 periods during the end of June, July, and end of December till 26 January. So right now, when you actually did the store walkthrough, you could see all our staff wearing red t-shirts with sale mentioned on their t-shirt. So the uniform changes during the sale period. The t-shirts have represent that end of season sale. And One Stop, we used to have a property called a 100% sale. Now 100% sale is not the 100% off, but we used to have a period wherein each and every merchandise, whether it is new or whether it is old, there is some discount or other. So we have actually registered that property of 100% sale for One Stop.
100% inventory sale. So it is a very smart decision, and it's good actually. Even if you give a small percentage of discount on even the fast moving or a basic products, also it is a great opportunity for everybody to really come in. And especially women always waits for that kind of sales to happen, so they always stock up for buying in these times, or probably change a lot of things, because I think one of the why the category was slow, because our change cycles were slow. We don't change so fast. I mean, if you really see internationally, people would change their cookware more frequently. They would change their servoware very quickly. But we will continue to use that. We get used to get too emotionally attached to things, and not change our things around at home. But this is changing very, very fast, and I think this is a category which is going to not only go by the category, but overall consumption, but also from a frequency of people purchase would also create a huge amount of opportunity. So over to you, Sonia, for your questions. And friends, if you have a particular city you are interested to partner, please go out right in the Q&A box, and we will be able to take it with Jayesh Bhai. Over to you, Sonia.
Thank you so much, Jayesh Bhai. I'll maybe start with some of the questions I see in the audience also coming in, and club with some questions I was taking a note of. So, first and foremost, maybe I'll go back on the format. We talked about 1500 square feet format and 800. While the product mix would change, how would that impact the investment? So bigger format, approximately we have 72 lakhs of an investment. So would the investment comparatively or proportionately come down when we talk about 800 square feet of an area?
So the investment in terms of those costs which are directly related to space, like fit out cost, and those will change. But there are certain elements which will be common for a bigger and a smaller store, like the software license, your POS systems, and merchandise also cannot go disproportionate, because we would try to make the 800 square feet area much more dense in terms of the merchandise. So the merchandise investment will be roughly the merchandise we are able to store in that, and if probably we can have a back space like a small warehouse, that would also help us in replenishing very fast.
Okay, very helpful. And Jayesh, do you want to give any indication on the investment, just a broad, investment bracket for a smaller format? Is there an indication of the amount here that we can share with our investors?
So, roughly we have calculated a fit out cost of 2,000 per square feet, and assigned a 31.5 lakh to the 1,500 square feet.
Right.
So 800 square feet will roughly become a little more than half, because there will be some AC and POS system, and those costs will bear, but the fit out cost will proportionally decrease. A stock level, we have assumed a 40 lakh stock level in a 1,500 square feet area. That will, I think, become 25 lakhs around instead of 40 lakhs.
Mm-hmm.
So not exactly half, a little more than half.
Sure. Very helpful. Another question, Jayesh, because I was seeing May you started in May omni-channel, and you also started receiving demand from across the country. Now, when we talk about a franchisee, since you already have demand which is coming all across, and do you see an integration of a franchisee outlet with this online demand? Will he get any benefit of this demand if it comes from his neighborhood, or if it comes from the city where he opens up?
Absolutely. We see the online model itself was viewed by us as a proper value addition. It is not something we are not focused on GMV and building, burning cash unnecessarily just for customer acquisition. We want the business to grow organically based on genuine demand, and we would be happy to reduce cost in that journey totally. So if a particular demand is coming from a particular area where a franchise is there, we would be happy to assign that order and build that entire order processing in our systems, so that he also gets the benefit of a particular thing. And suppose when we bring the omni-channel, we will give special discounts for customer visits if the customer is able to pick from the store. So suppose when he comes for the pickup, the customer is also likely to see other items and do an upsell. The franchisee will have an opportunity to do an upselling on that store.
All right. Very helpful. Actually, another question which I wanted to ask, Hamara, because when we keep a stock of say 40 odd lakhs, typically Hamara just stock rotation hai, wo kya rehta hai? What kind of sales and throughput can a store have with that kind of stock available?
Basically, we have made a rough estimate of the kind of turnover we are expecting in the first and the second year. Of course, it entirely depends upon the catchment in which the store is located.
Right.
But genuinely, home and kitchen is such an all-pervasive category right now that after food, this has become the next essential. So, as Gauravji earlier mentioned, people were changing in the old days an appliance or a pressure cooker. People were used to using it for 5-10 years, but that trend has entirely changed. There is so much evolution in that category that people now use it for a particular number of years, and then they want to change their glasses, their dinnerware, their cookware much more frequently than our earlier generation. And the next incoming millennials would be much more evolved in this category. So what we genuinely feel is that people will have much more the visits of in this kind of outlets is also much more frequent. Now earlier a home and kitchen was a once in a 2-month or a 3-month visit, but now practically we have seen people buying on impulse. They don't know that they need this product, but when they come and visit the store and they browse through the products, impulse buying takes place in a very, very big way.
Great. So, but on an average, क्या revenue if the location is good, and we'll also take due diligence in getting the right location. But on an average, if we talk about the kind of business one outlet can make one, and if you can also give some indication on the operating expenses, rental kitna hona chahiye, what kind of manpower do we need one, and also because I saw there were a lot of discounts that were offered by brands. How does it work out for a franchisee? What margins, blended margin he would get overall on the entire product range, and during a discount offering or a EOSS sale, which is end of season, who bears the discount and how is that worked out?
So, in fact, we have factored the end of season sale in our working, which we have given on an annual basis. So there are those 6 weeks of sale during June, July, and 6 weeks in December, Jan, where there is a little dip because the margin because of the discounts we give to the customers, where the discount is shared between the franchisee and us. We will do the sharing of discounts, but the franchisee will also get an upscale in business of the kind which we don't see in normal times.
Right.
So there will be a 30 to 40% or probably more increase in the business during that time, which will more than compensate for the loss of margins during that place. Certain other operational parameters which we have given is roughly based on the walk-ins a customer is able, a particular location is able to entail. We roughly see a conversion of 40% in malls. And then high street has even a higher percentage, because malls generally people are going for F&B, for cinema, entertainment and garments. A home and kitchen category, because other people have come there, they also visit that, but it is more of impulse. A planned purchase, when you are visiting a high street store, it is much more a planned. Conversions we have seen in our high street store is more than 50-55%, sometimes even more than that. So that is a walk-in to a actual sale transaction. That is a conversion. The ticket size can vary from in an area roughly from 1,500, 1,800 to 22, 27, 2,800 or even a 3,000. So our South, the store which Ronak presented the walkthrough has got a phenomenal ticket size in that. So based on that and conservative estimates, we have given the kind of turnover which any franchisee can expect in the first and the second and the third year.
Okay. And what are the blended margins, Jayesh bhai? कितना हमारा average margin जो रहता है हमारा franchisee को हम pass करते हैं?
So the franchisee, based on that, we have given a cost even after the turnover is the net turnover after GST. So removing the GST part, they are expected to get a 30% margin during the normal times, except during those 5 to 6 weeks during end of season sale, where we roughly have a sharing of 4 to 5% from both the sides. Okay. Suppose averagely we are giving a 10% cut across the categories, we will bear 5%, the franchisee will have to bear 5%.
And Jayesh bhai, कितना ROI क्या लगता है? What is the average return on the investment that we are proposing, and how long will it take? क्या timeline हम project करते हैं?
The operating margin we have calculated in year one is after all expenses is 6.2%, and we have given an return on investment time of around 2.5 to 2.7, 2 years, 7 months, 7 to 8 months.
Sure. About 2.5 years is the ROI which is estimated. And Jayesh bhai, I'll also take some of the questions from the audience. I've considered some while I asked. So we have Mr. Suraj from Hyderabad. You know, he's keen for that location. He was exploring if a smaller format is also open. And second, he would like to know about the supply chain and also the period of replenishment of the merchandise at the franchise store. How is that organized?
So the supply chain, you know, we will have a view of the real-time inventory of all the franchisee partners, and based on that, we will have in a week, say in 2 weeks, we'll have three deliveries minimum for as a replenishment. So that is the level of replenishment will take place. We will also require the franchisee to maintain a certain backup stock in a particular corner of the shop, because you know, certain categories we display it very differently to what modern retail displays. For example, if you see glasses, we don't stock the glasses at six piece of set of glasses together. We have only one glass in our shelves, so a customer can view at least 50 to 60 varieties of glasses. But at the back end, we keep the backup stock, so the customer gets the stocks from the back end.
Yeah, it's a choice. It's a very classic way of doing it, actually. That's a way to do it. You're right, the big formats or the modern trade doesn't do it that way. They give you very limited choice in that sense.
Yeah.
Last question, Jayesh bhai, which while we have a lot of other questions coming up too, but a question to पूछना चाहती हूँ, what are some of the leading brands that we are working with, one, and do we also have a private label at the outlet?
Yes, we have a lot of private label, but there is a stark difference between the private label which we have and private label as it is known per se, you know. So our private label is something which is better than the brand. Sometimes, many a times it is better than the brand in terms of quality and characteristics. One very prime example I would like to give you is, you know, over a period of time, we saw a lot of people asking for mini cookware. Generally, you have a fry pan or a tawa or a saucepan of the starting size is 20 centimeter. But there was no one in abroad. There was a particular company manufacturing in, you know, 12 centimeters and 14 centimeters. And we introduced that range in our private label. There was no frontline companies having this assortment. And we saw such a great demand that based on that, one of the frontline cookware brands of India has replicated that entire merchandise.
Okay.
So that, and in One Stop, the private labels are there for 8 to 10 different categories as of now. And there is a big product development team working at the back end to develop those products category where the demand is there, but no frontline brand is satisfying that demand. So our private label in cookware is by a different name. We have a private label in copperware, different categories, and among the frontline brands also, we have many brands which are exclusively available only in one stop also. Borner being the case in point. So that is now many brands from abroad are approaching us and they are willing to supply stocks at that level where we don't need to give it to the entire other partners. We can just import only for one stop and have an exclusive arrangement.
All right, very helpful.
Of course, the frontline brands, to name a few, we have in dinnerware, we have the Noritakes of Japan, to the US Corel, to Luminars and everything. The frontline brands of home and kitchen are all represented. We have Prestige, we have Hawkins, but a little differentiation is that if we have a brand in one stop, we don't give the entire space to all the products. We make a selection out of the products based on our understanding of the customer needs and have only that selected assortment of a particular. We know what is working best in a particular brand and we limit ourselves only to those products.
Sure, Jayesh bhai. And maybe if you can just very quickly also tell offline and online mein jo revenue mix hota hai, how much comes from online and how much, based on your own last maybe 6-7 months of experience, how much revenue would online contribute for a store and how much comes, offline? And second, jo aapka private label hai and the branded hai, what is the inventory mix between the two?
So, between the online, we have started in May only, and roughly we have yet to we limited ourselves only to where One Stop was present. So only in Mumbai and Pune. We didn't go out whole hog in marketing in other cities because we just wanted to test to do the supply chain from here. Actually, when we started in May, the lockdown was still on, and we took special permission in June beginning to service from our high street store because all malls were closed till almost as late as August and September. To a prospect franchisee, online numbers as a percentage of offline will be starkly skewed towards offline. Online as of gradually will develop. So a customer visiting a particular shop will like to buy and touch and feel initially. But for their repeat purchase, they might do an online thing. So gradually we are seeing behavior from that pattern. Your next question was?
One was on the inventory mix between. Yeah, so we have covered the online, offline. I want
the private label and the private label and the inventory mix is roughly 65 to 70% is brands and 30 to 35% is private label.
Right. Great. Very helpful, Jayesh bhai. I'm seeing still some questions which are pouring in, and I see almost every top city where we have received interest from. And if we can request, because I'm sure a lot of information can be discussed maybe one-to-one with the prospective franchisees, and sometime in this week, the coming week, if you think there's a time which we can block and bring our prospective partners or franchisees on to you for addressing their queries, would you want to advise what date would be feasible for you?
For a one-to-one discussion?
Hanji.
So we can take it maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow on a particular. We can fix up that, align the time schedule and fix it. And I will assign a particular person from my team to directly answer initial questions.
So, right. Jayesh bhai, can we do it sometime, because we'll take some time to filter the response which has come in, and tomorrow might be too early. So can we do it sometime in the coming week? And our office will also reach out to you. We can assign one team member who works with us, and we can get the calls assigned. So how about 28th or 29th of the next week? Because 26th being a holiday, 20th or 29th, these two dates are available.
That would work. That would be better after the 26th. Yes.
Great. And Jayesh Bhai, before we close, I will request if you can also address the audience, with a message that you want to maybe say as a closing remarks.
So I just wish all the participants here that let them evaluate and have all their doubts cleared, and wish them all the luck and now for their journey in business. And of course, we want a partner who will bring value in terms of their ownership and their involvement in the business. So I've heard many times Gauravji talk about that formats where personal involvement of partners is there, gives a guaranteed success in be it any format. So that is what we all look forward to, and we look forward to working with you guys. Thank you so much.
Look forward, Jayesh bhai. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time today and taking time out and showing us the entire opportunity. You are a very successful, operations and very successful entrepreneur yourself. And I think it will be a delight for all of us to work with you closely and to find a very good contributing partners with you who can also take the brand ahead. Thank you very much. Over to you, Sonia.
Thank you so much, Jayesh Bhai, for taking us through the entire information and the lovely tour of the outlet. I think that was very experiential for all of us who attended. And friends, we look forward to receiving your inquiries. We've also put a hotline number in the chat box, which you will see very shortly. Kindly take a note of that number. You can reach SMS, call, or WhatsApp on that number. And we'll filter the information that we seek to align your calls with the team which will be deputed by Jayesh Bhai. Thank you so much, sir, for coming in. Over to you, Archana.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Gaurav.
Thank you so much, Jayesh Bhai, for joining in today. We would like to thank your team also, who has worked hard for this particular webinar. We would like to thank our panel member as well as dear participants who have joined us today. Please do share your suggestions, feedback, and connect with us at our business hotline number, which is 97176-83838. We are organizing one-to-one call with Jayesh Bhai. So please block your slot so that you can get the complete understanding from our side. You can also connect with us at different social handles, information on your screen. You wish to join LinkedIn IDs of Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am, information on your screen. The entire team of Franchise India would be there to give you all the solutions. And tomorrow we invite you to join us for Action Coach webinar. This is a special webinar we are bringing for each one of you. By doing the registration at the same business hotline number, you can join us sharp 12 p.m. tomorrow. So please do not miss this chance. Join us tomorrow sharp 12 p.m. for Action Coach webinar. Thank you so much once again for joining in. But before you go, we would like to play a small video for you for special webinar which we are bringing for you on this Sunday. Here is a video for each one of you.
Hi, this is Pooja Bedi, and I'm delighted to announce that I'm going to be attending a webinar by Francorp to discuss franchise opportunities with my company, Happy Soul, which is a health and wellness-based lifestyle venture. Health and wellness is the future. Wellness is a $6 trillion industry, of which India has a 500 billion share. Be part of the future, be a part of Happy Soul. I look forward to seeing all potential retailers at this particular event. I look forward to extending all my knowledge, and I look forward to your support and business, and let's make some magic together.
So that's the big opportunity under wellness vertical we are bringing for each one of you. You can do registration right now so that you don't miss chance to understand the journey. Thank you so much once again for joining in today. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you, Jayesh Bhai. Thank you, friends.